What's going on, everybody? It is yours truly, Mr. Connor, aka Fabe here. What is going on? It is episode 17 of the World of Fandom podcast. Of course, a podcast where we're fans. It's the world. And yeah, I'm starting to run out of quips. It's too late to do this stuff. But anyway, what's going on, everybody? Of course, I am joined by my brother from another brand, Andrew. What's going on, Andrew?
Not much. Am I going to say it, Connor? I think I'm going to say it. I think I'll say it.
Go ahead, say it.
Living the dream.
Really? Yeah, I don't think you've said that in a while.
Oh, I say that like every episode.
Do you? I don't.
No, sometimes I just talk and you don't listen. I want you to pay attention. Stop it. I'm talking, okay?
But anyway, we want to thank you guys again for tuning in for the episode of the World of Fandom podcast. We're talking about everything that if you are a fan of, chances are we're probably going to be talking about it here on the show. And I'll tell you, Andrew, the last week or so has been really cool. We've stepped up our game in a lot of ways. We've been very active on social media. A lot of downloads in the last episode. In fact, I'm actually going to pull them up now, and hopefully I'm not embarrassing myself while I'm pulling these up and find out that it's really bad. Because
two downloads. That's all we got.
Listen. And those two.
You and me.
Watch, it's like that episode of Rocco where it's like, well, I voted for you. Did you vote for you? And then Heifer's like, he has broad shoulders. Like he didn't end up voting for him. But anyway, no, we had a really good episode last time. We talked a lot of different random stuff, which we're kind of going to do here. We talked about WrestleMania, Black Adam, Falcon and Winter Soldier, Suicide Squad. Definitely check it out. One of my favorite thumbnails, by the way, if you appreciate the thumbnail art.
Yes.
I sent it to
Thank you for turning me into John Cena.
No, I didn't turn you into John Cena. I turned you into, what's his name? What's his name?
Peacemaker.
Peacemaker, yeah. Yeah, I turned you into Peacemaker. I didn't turn you into John Cena. If you want me to turn you into John Cena, I can turn you into John Cena.
Well, I mean, he is a millionaire and fucking I don't know, maybe, but fuck you anyway.
We had a really good episode last week. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out. We're available on all your favorite podcasting platforms. Thanks to our sponsors, our host over at Anchor. We're on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google, iTunes, and pretty much everywhere you guys can find the show. This week, we've got another hodgepodge of stuff. We're going to talk about Godzilla versus Kong. We're going to talk about, so many trailers. We were talking about this before we got on the air. How we'll talk about Godzilla versus Kong, and maybe something else might happen in between, and then lo and behold, 7 trailers drop for different things. Some of them repeat, some of them for shows that I already know are out, and now there's so many more. But, of course, you guys are more than welcome to join us in the conversation over on Twitter, @PodFandom. Love hearing from you guys as far as all these different things. We got some other cool stuff to talk about from you guys, including your favorite WWE themes. We did talk about that last week.
Yep.
Might as well. I think we'll start with that one first.
Okay.
Just to kind of get it off the plate here, get it off the chest here, Andrew, and then we'll segue into some wrestling stuff we got going on here. So, favorite wrestling themes? I mean, obviously yours is The Rock.
Favorite wrestling theme of all time?
But you have a specific love for like the 03 one, right?
Okay, yes. The 03 one where it's like a really long delay and he just says, "It's cooking." That's probably my favorite Rock theme.
Which is so, I just pity the people who just got into wrestling. Why is he saying it's cooking? Like they don't get the catchphrase.
You know what's funny is in the car and I'm playing this music, and of course the only thing that said is cooking, but my son's in the background. I'm like, buddy, do you hear them? They're whispering. I don't hear them, Daddy. They're whispering. Just listen. And he's like listening for like a minute, and all you hear is it's cooking. He goes, Dad, it's The Rock again.
I'm very happy and not at the least bit surprised that dialogue came from your son.
Yes. I don't know if I have a favorite wrestling. I mean,
well,
The Rock's music is.
You do love Austin's not Disturbed, the Austin Alliance song.
That is the best Austin song. I will die on that hill. I will die on that hill. You know what? Honestly, I'm going to throw a curveball, right? I think if I had to pick a favorite wrestling song, and this is just me pulling out of my ass, Triple H, 1999 to 2000, My Time, is such a good, I think it's his best intro song ever.
You're talking about like the pre-Motorhead one.
Yeah, like, 1, 2, is this thing on?
1, 2, is
Jimmy,
this the one?
Hit me with that Triple H.
It's almost baby talk.
Oh, Triple H, want to hit me with you?
Just the way, like, 1, 2, Sean, boo boo gaga.
But that's like my workout song. I get hard and I start working out, that and Kurt Angle's.
Wait.
I love those.
Which one? Because there's a couple of them, and it's a very subtle difference.
Traditional, regular Kurt Angle, not the ECW remix, not the rock kind of heavy remix.
Oh, I kind of like the Angle remix one of the ECW where it sounds like someone had the loop button on accident and they're like, oh shit.
Yeah, I like it too, and a lot of people didn't. I thought it was cool because it was a little bit more aggressive. And then of course there's Orton's "Burning in My Light" and Voices, which are both fantastic.
Fun fact: did you know how CM Punk originally came out to "This Fire Burns"? You know Orton had that for like a week, right?
Yes, by Killswitch Engage.
Weird to see. Yeah, I went back and watched the SmackDown that he had it on. It was weird to see. But good friend Chase Oliver 68 over on Twitter. Shout out to Chase. He gave us. He actually also said Triple H "My Time" as one of his theme songs. He also said Jeff Jarrett's TNA theme. It's my world.
Oh yeah, that's good. Doesn't he call out The Rock in that theme or something?
He originally did, then they changed it, and I don't know why. But then again, it's The Rock, so I understand.
Yeah.
And then he also said Seth Rollins' Messiah theme, which I could dig that. I could dig that. I think Finn Balor and Shinsuke Nakamura's, like, we're talking more recent stuff, is really good shit.
Yeah, they're pretty good too. I don't know, and I honestly like all of Drew McIntyre's. Like, it's not top tier, but I dig his Broken Dreams, and I like his new one, which is Gallantry or whatever it's called.
He said something in an interview. He's like, I am sick to death of hearing about people asking me to bring back Broken Dreams. Like, no, it's not coming back. I'm like, it's a good song. Even if people are asking you about it.
I'm sorry. Just came to my head.
Good.
How excited are you for Chris Jericho to be on the Broken Skull podcast?
I was going to get to that, speaking of which. Really, I did like that like head tilt, like when a dog gets his name called and his ears perk up. I'm like, didn't expect that to happen. Freaking Jericho breaking the internet again.
For a second, I thought it was an April Fool's joke because he's still with AEW.
Yep.
And you can say whatever you want about WWE. The one thing WWE never does is acknowledge anything other than WWE unless WWE owns it. Like they never acknowledge ECW until Vince McMahon bought it out. Say anything with WCW really didn't exist except for like, some shade thrown by DX to Shawn Michaels. Like AEW does not exist to them, but Jericho's going to be on the show. I think that's tremendous.
Well, there's a couple of interesting notes about that, and the first is that you're right. They do not do anything like that in terms of cross-promotion. The last time that we saw anything like this, as far as this a major, like, doing something like anything close, I mean, nothing comes close to this. But the thing that made me think about this was back in, I think, 2012, the Four Horsemen were inducted into the Hall of Fame, right? But Flair was in TNA at the time. And so they let Flair be part of the Hall of Fame ceremony. In exchange, they sent Christian to like TNA Slammiversary pay-per-view, just to let them be on, just as a, we'll do you let us do this, we'll let you do this kind of deal. That was literally the only thing I could think of. But you're right, they don't acknowledge the competition, which is funny because with NXT moving to Tuesday nights, Triple H was told that they bullied us off of Wednesday nights. Like, okay, sure, yeah, right,
yeah.
So according to Austin, he said he texted Vince twice. He's like, "Are you sure?" "Yep." "You sure?" Thumbs up emoji. Like that was the entire conversation, which sounds like a Vince thing. My guess is that Jericho will not be allowed to talk about anything AEW, which it's going to be a shitty podcast if that's the case. Like, you know what I mean? Can they do that?
It's tough. I think they should. I mean, listen. If anyone's going to fucking do that shit, it's going to be Jericho. Because Jericho goes to the beat of his own drum. Even when he's playing nice and listening and following the rules, like, he goes to the beat of his own drum. Now, here's the thing. It's a production. It's not live, so they can cut anything out Jericho says that they want to. But I think it would be smart for WWE to do so and let him. I think it would be a great sign to wrestling fans who are losing faith in WWE.
Which is a good amount. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about WrestleMania, which I have a couple of interesting things to talk about that too before we keep going. But you're right. It's edited. They could cut and tie it, anything like that. By the way, did you catch his smirk?
Jericho's?
Yeah, in the trailer, in the teaser.
I was too busy coming. I don't.
After the whole climax, I zone out. There was a
Let me tell you, the walls of Jericho were broken down.
there was a Family Guy joke that I saw. It was a more recent one. It was really funny. It said like guys when they want to get into porn, and it shows like Peter's like surrounded by like millions of copies of porn. It's like, wow, I can't wait to have the whole weekend to myself and just do all these things and do this. And it's like 2 seconds later, he's pulling his pants and goes, I don't want to see any of these things ever in my life ever again. And I couldn't stop.
So true.
I couldn't stop laughing. Oh my god! But anyway, last real bit of WWE news that I wanted to kind of briefly touch upon was actually a couple of things. So first off, WWE Network finally moved to Peacock, the streaming service of NBC, and apparently there's been a lot of problems.
Really? Like what?
Well,
the censoring, right? Weren't they censoring shit?
Specifically the censoring. So for those of you guys that don't know, WWE Network was its own streaming service, and it was successful? Question mark. And they announced that they were bought out by Peacock. That Peacock was basically absorbing the network, and that you can only find WWE programming and content from the network on Peacock. Now, most of the stuff was it's a slow transition. They're still loading things in there. There's still things missing as of this recording. But a big reason that a lot of people bought the network, not just the pay-per-views, was the classic content. I mean, they have pretty much everything wrestling except for like TNA, ROH, and Japan and AEW under their umbrella. So ECW, WCW, everything. And, Peacock started removing a lot of stuff from the Attitude Era and stuff that they didn't deem family-friendly or content, so a lot of people are pissed off because they want that classic content that the library that the WWE Network have. They may not be able to get that now on the network, which is not good.
No, not good at all.
I mean,
that's like the primary draw of it, other than the free pay-per-views, is the catalog.
The pay-per-views, I could be wrong, and you guys can let us know. I'll actually throw something out on Twitter in a little bit. For me, the biggest, I was more leaning towards the classic content. The pay-per-views, the cost of the pay-per-views were kind of a bonus. But you recently subscribed to the network, Andrew, like within the last year. What was your in terms of just like start? Because I was a member since day one, but for you, kind of getting in towards the end of the game, what did you think of like pay-per-views versus classic content? What were you leaning more towards for you?
I think for this stage of my life, I was leaning towards more of the pay-per-view, if I'm going to be honest, because the way I look at wrestling now is when I was younger, when we were watching it, I felt like I needed to watch every single thing to be like, I don't know, to validate myself as a fan, right? It sounds stupid, but like I need to watch every Raw, every SmackDown. If I miss anything, like what kind of fan am I if I'm not consuming all of this, right? And now that I'm older and I have substantially less time to be an idiot and think that way, my thought process is that the only things that matter to me are pay-per-views and anything that involves The Rock. I know that sounds very fanboyish, but he's my favorite wrestler. So when it comes to the backlog stuff, the only stuff I've used that for is to kind of rewatch all of Rock's match. As I said before on the podcast, I've done like a little project where I'm going back and I'm rewatching every Rock promo, every Rock match. But other than that, I haven't really used it for anything else. Maybe some big moments and some WrestleManias here and there, but basically it's just been pay-per-views.
Right, you lean more towards the classic content. So I just threw the poll up on Twitter, so if you guys want to join in the conversation, love to hear the results. At Pod Fandom, which with WWE Network now on Peacock, there is content being edited out. What did you value more in the network? Was it access to live pay-per-views, or was it more of the classic content? I'm really curious to hear your guys' thoughts on it. But the last real thing I want to talk about, and I'm kicking myself that we didn't talk about this in the last week one, Hall of Fame, baby. So obviously the Hall of Fame did not happen last year because of COVID, and so they're combining basically 2 nights of the Hall of Fame. They're doing the 2020 and the 2021 Hall of Fame ceremony this coming week, next week, with the 2020 class already being announced and the 2021 class kind of being rounded out within the next, I think there's only a couple left. It's a very small class in comparison to 2020. Did you hear the list of the names for the classes?
The only ones I know off the top of my head is Molly Holly and RPD. I'm sure there's more.
Cool.
But for some reason, I can't think of them.
So Andrew doesn't know many of them, so this is great. It gives me a chance to kind of excite/ruin his day. So the 2020 class. Let's start with that one first. JBL, British Bulldog, Jushin Thunder Liger, Batista.
Okay.
The NWO, specifically Hogan, Hall, Nash, and X-Pac.
Okay.
The Bella Twins.
Sure.
The celebrity inductee this year is William Shatner, because sure.
Yeah, I knew that.
And then the Warrior Award goes to Titus O'Neil.
And I just heard that too.
So what do you think of that?
Not bad. I actually didn't know about JBL, the NWO, or what's it called? Batista, which I guess if I had to say the biggest one from that would probably be Batista, right? Because NWO, most of them have already been inducted.
Yes.
Hall was inducted already.
Yep.
Hogan was inducted already. X-Pac was inducted with DX, correct?
Yeah, so basically Hogan, Hall, and Nash were all inducted individually. X-Pac was inducted as part of DX, yeah. So he'll be another two-timer. They'll all be another two-timer.
So that's really Nash, right?
No, Nash was inducted by himself.
Oh, so NWO is just an excuse to get some big names out there to make it seem bigger than it is.
I mean, true, but I mean, I think they should be in there.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think of the bunch, I think Batista is the biggest name, but like the Bella Twins, like not for nothing, I know they've done a lot, but
I cannot wait to hear your response to these 2021 ones. Well, one in particular.
Sure, throw them at me.
Okay, so 2021. Let's do the celebrity one. The celebrity one I actually agree with. It's Ozzy Osbourne.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all with that because he performed at WrestleMania 2 and he's done other stuff. You're right, Molly Holly. Rob Van Dam, very happy about RVD, very happy about that. Eric Bischoff.
I'm okay with this.
Okay.
With a question mark?
I'm saving the worst for last. This isn't the last one. Kane.
That's good. Yes, I remember Kane. Yep. Definitely.
I love how you're not saying a response. You're just like, yep, I remember Kane. Yep. Big Red Machine. But okay, I need to preface this one because this one makes me laugh so hard. I thought this was a troll when someone posted this on social media. I'm like, no, they're okay. It's people trolling. No, they're actually going to induct this person in the Hall of Fame for real. You ready, Andrew?
I'm ready.
The Great Khali.
Oh, my Lanta. Are you kidding me?
No, I'm dead serious.
For what? His 2 20-minute world title reigns?
So
Great Khali? Bro, I'm pretty sure Essa Rio has a better career than Great Khali.
So, listen. Everyone else, I can defend. I can honestly defend every other person being inducted in 2021. No problem. Van Dam, huge amount of accolades. Kane, same thing. Bischoff, respectable. Molly Holly is, one of the veterans. Khali's literal accomplishment, and I'm looking at like the Wikipedia article. It says one-time world heavyweight champion, which made him the first Indian world champion in WWE, and 2008 Slammy Award winner for Damn Moment of the Year. That is literally it.
Yeah, I mean, I like Great Khali as a person, but there's no doubt that he was a gimmicky wrestler at best.
Now,
that never got pulled over, so
someone said maybe this is to say screw you to Big Show.
Oh, well, maybe. But is Show already in the Hall of Fame?
No.
Oh, well.
Not anymore.
I don't know what to say. I think most of those picks are pretty good. I'm glad they did RVD. I'm glad they're doing Batista and JBL. I think those three across the board between 2 years is enough. I think NWO kind of balances it out, right? Molly Holly was a great worker back in the day. Again, I question mark the Bella Twins, but let's be honest. I stopped watching wrestling in 2013 for a good amount of time, and that was really where the Bella Twins started to take off. So I don't know. Would you say the Bella Twins deserve to be in there?
I think they deserve it to be in there for different reasons. I think that it's definitely a debate because the whole usually when you say like, oh, so and so doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame, it's usually because someone else hasn't been inducted yet. Like obviously for me, Victoria comes to mind.
Yeah.
That should be in the Hall of Fame
My girl.
before the Bellas. But I mean, the thing for me though is they contributed more awareness of WWE outside of the WWE bubble. You know, that to me is kind of the big value I think they have. Hall of Fame, I'm kind of at a tightrope walk on that one. It's a tough.
See, may I say something that might be taken the wrong way?
Of course. I would be insulted if you didn't.
I feel as though the Bella Twins, while are great wrestlers and great personalities, were only as successful as they were for two reasons. One is because they were twins, and two, because they were sleeping with John Cena and married to Daniel Bryan. I know that's a terrible thing to say, but I honestly think their position, being the spouses of those two people, did elevate them a bit.
No, that's not a fair assessment.
Okay. Well,
you're like, well, I stand by it.
There you go.
Well, who can I insult then? But let us know your thoughts. Let us know your thoughts about the Hall of Fame. Let us know your thoughts about everything WWE. Let us know on @PodFandom on Twitter, or we might be doing some other cool stuff in the future as far as interactivity. I'll talk about more about that with Andrew because I haven't told him shit yet.
Oh my god!
It's good. It's good.
Oh my god!
It's good. It's good. Don't worry. It's a surprise. It's a surprise, if you will.
Surprise.
So. The main thing we're going to talk about the show today is Godzilla vs. Kong, but before we get into that, there are a couple of trailers that we need to talk about first and foremost. And your hot take. We'll get to your hot take. Let me just pull up my list here. I don't want to make sure I lose it here. Perfect. So let's talk about your hot take first, because I know you were dying, and unfortunately I didn't get a chance to watch the hot take you had told me about before we did the show, but the stage is yours.
So I have three hot takes, but one big one.
Yep.
Well, they're all kind of big. The big one, let's talk about first. For anime fans like myself, especially of a beautiful anime called JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, we are finally getting part 6 in animation for JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, which is great because this has been delayed, obviously, because of COVID. But you haven't watched anything in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, have you?
I have.
You have. What have you watched?
Very little. I know I know the premise of the show. I've seen a couple of clips here and there, but nothing strung together. So I know the characters to an extent, but yeah.
Okay, so the great thing about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, just to kind of sell it to you, other than the fact that it's an easy to digest anime, it is fiercely loyal to the manga. So you don't even have to read the manga because they literally do shot for shot, dialogue for dialogue of the manga to it. Yeah, there's scenes where like if you read a comic book or a manga, they'll put 20 paragraphs in one panel and it's just a guy running. They will literally do a whole 10 minutes of a guy running, which would take place in 10 seconds just to get all that dialogue out. But anyways, I digress. JoJo is an anthology, so there's a different protagonist every time. And they all have the nickname JoJo to some extent, some more than others. So you have the first JoJo with its Jonathan Joestar, JoJo, then Joseph Joestar, JoJo, then Jotaro Kujo, and then Josuke, and then Giorno, and then finally we're going to the first female one, which is Jolene. Now the important thing to note about her is the ending of her part is probably one of the most controversial and big things that happen in the JoJo universe. And I won't spoil what it is, but it kind of just opens the door to many possibilities. So it's going to be good.
All right.
It's going to be fantastic. I recommend, if you have time, to watch it because it is in the first part is only 12 episodes. The second part's 12 episodes, and then the third part's 500 episodes. So
what the hell? That's that's anime, yeah.
Not that much. It's 30 something, but anyways. But it's a fantastic news. So JoJo Part 6, thumbs up. That's my first hot take.
Awesome.
Hot take number 2. Deathstroke HBO is trending right now.
Yeah, it is.
And I don't know the full details on this because I don't think anything is official, but I think it's more Joe Manganiello saying, I really want to play this part. Please, HBO, make it happen.
I mean, I would be opposed to an HBO series with Deathstroke as a bounty hunter.
I would come 16 times over.
I was going to say. Remind me when you're done with the last hot take that I have a little bit of an update on the Restore the Snyderverse.
Okay. I will.
It's an interesting little one, but go ahead.
Okay. Well, I would love to see this. Deathstroke is my
Agreed.
favorite villain in DC Comics. There's been many great interpretations. There's been the Arrowverse version, which was good, but then the Titans version, which was, I don't know if you watched Titans, but the Deathstroke in there, they did a fantastic job with him in there. But Joe Manganiello definitely has the look down, and he could be one of the most physically opposing Deathstrokes. I would love to see him play the role. It's almost like it's built for him.
It really is. He looks like he was ripped right out of the comics.
Exactly. So that's hot take number 2. Who knows where it goes, but hopefully someplace good. And then hot take number 3 is just been confirmed that John Delancey, who played Q on Star Trek The Next Generation, is going to be returning to reprise his role in Star Trek Picard.
Oh, yes. That's the finish I needed. Oh, Lord. Yes. Q is my favorite Star Trek character, bar none.
Oh, yeah.
There is no
The great thing about Q... Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, I was just going to say, best character in my opinion, bar none. Sorry, everyone else.
Of the antagonists in the Star Trek universe, the 2 best are Gul Dukat and Q. And for different reasons. Gul Dukat is a flat-out morally gray but ultimately evil character, where Q is best equated to being like a Loki. Like, he's kind of like a teacher, but also an antagonist at the same time. So him returning, this is the first time him returning to a live-action Star Trek. He did return to reprise Q in Lower Decks, but that was animation, and it was more for like a few seconds.
Right.
But it's going to be fantastic.
That might get me back into the show then, if he's going to be. Is it just is a one-off? I'm assuming it's a one-off. It can't be a recurring character.
Who knows? We do know that Whoopi Goldberg's at least making the appearance in season 2 of Picard.
Shoot, I don't know watch this now. I heard mixed things about Picard, but now if they're gonna do that, I might have to watch it then. Shoot.
Yeah, Picard season 1, and we can talk about it some other time. And Picard's my favorite character. TNG is my favorite show of all time.
Yep.
But it was a mixed bag, but there was a few things that were definitely good about it. Patrick Stewart's acting was on point.
I mean,
they hit a lot of good emotional notes. I think the biggest problem with it was just the plot and the pacing. But putting all that aside, I am generally excited for season 2. It looks like it's going to turn out great, and they got a great writing room. I don't know if you know Mark Bernard from Batman Not Batman, but he's actually part of the writing team, so he's done some great stuff in the past, so I'm confident it's in good hands.
All right. By the way, for the record, the last episode is my favorite of TNG.
Your favorite is TNG too?
My favorite's TNG, but my favorite episode is the last one, where he's traveling to different time periods.
All good things.
Yes. Yeah. If that show had to go out on that note, goddamn, they did a great. Like, I don't know if that was planned, but shit, they went on a high note on that episode. But we can discuss Star Trek another time. But so going back to restore the Snyderverse. So we've been talking about this for 2 weeks now. Obviously, Snyder Cut's out. If you want to get our full thoughts on the entire Snyder Cut movie, Justice League Snyder Cut, it is up on our podcast. Make sure you guys check it out. It is episode number 15. It's the in-depth Snyder Cut review. Since then, you and I have been talking about like people wanting to restore the Snyderverse. Yourself, I love it. Like you mean like me, and. It seems the momentum is still going. It is still somewhat hot on Twitter, not as hot as other things, but it's still in discussion about people wanting to restore the Snyderverse. I've been watching with a very keen eye about how companies like WB and HBO are going to react to all this and how this might change things up. Now, this may not seem like a big deal, but I think this might be a bigger deal than they're letting on. It was announced in an interview that the Robert Pattinson version of Batman, the new one that's coming out, which I cannot wait for, is going to take place on Earth 2.
Yes, I heard this.
So the reason you're like, well, what the hell does that matter? Well, the reason that matters is because that means that they could still do the Batman movie basically in a different dimension or a different timeline or alternate reality, and still bring back Batfleck if they wanted to. Or do whatever in Snyderverse. So I'm just saying, the chances of Snyderverse coming back, it's still on the table at least.
Again, I said this before. I'll say it again. I think it would be stupid if they didn't do it. I think there's a big fan calling for it. Is the Snyderverse the best universe we could have for DC Comics? No, but it's definitely a desired one that people want to at least see completed. So why not?
Even
Let's
just
do
from
it.
even just from a business perspective, you know, like
Exactly.
like even if you just like they could make the downloads and sales hand over fist if they did it. I mean, you do what, 2 more movies, especially if Snyder kept it the way he intended to. It would almost be like the Avengers in terms of like, okay, the second one may not do as well, but that third one, holy crap!
Hmm.
But
Exactly.
just a little fan fodder for you guys out there, just to enjoy. I thought that was very interesting. Like, oh, they purposely went out of their way to make sure they said this takes place in Earth too. Huh? Will you look at that? But let's talk about. Speaking of the future, let's talk about some trailers. There are 3 trailers we're going to talk about, Andrew. Let's talk about the one that is probably the one that sticks out like a sore thumb compared to the other 2. 2 of them are superhero trailers. One of them is a Space Jam trailer.
Mm, mm. I got
You got thoughts?
I got things to say, but I'll let you go first.
So we've been waiting for this for a while, and it's funny that like we haven't, with movies being delayed and everything. I find it very interesting that like the timing of trailers. I don't know if it's because of the pandemic. They're like, well, we have to wait until a certain time frame or whatever. But I watched the Space Jam New Legacy trailer, and just my initial thoughts, not bad.
Hmm.
Obviously, it's not going to live up to the charm of the first one, no matter what you do. LeBron James's acting seems pretty decent from the brief moments we've had. The story seems almost like a direct-to-DVD sequel. I'm not going to lie.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
plot-wise, I'm not huge on it, but then again, let's face it, we're not there for the plot. I have a very funny little side bit once you're done with this that I saw somebody do on TikTok that made me literally laugh my ass off. Um, it looks okay. I'm not like huge on it, but like I'm like, okay, I'll give that a shot. I'll check it out. Um, but yeah, it seems meh. What's up, Doc?
Yeah. So
Go ahead.
let, let me say this, right? Going into a Space Jam movie, I am not going to be expecting much.
Right.
Um, and I'm not saying that in a negative way, right? There's
No, yeah,
certain
yeah,
movies
yeah.
that yeah, there's certain movies that you have to shut off your expectation. I mean, like, we'll talk about that with King Kong versus Godzilla in a little bit, but like, there's certain movies that you just have to accept them for what they are, which is fine. And I am generally excited or positive towards this movie. But listen, I have one fucking problem, right? One problem,
All right.
right? They canceled Lola Bonnie. They got her all nice and conservative looking with her outfit. Let me tell you something, bro. Let me tell you something. I ain't into furries,
But
but but but let me just tell you something. My childhood, adolescence was defined by people like Lola Bunny,
right.
and her coming out with that midriff and shaking that tail feather. Mm, I'm just saying, a big disservice has been done to that bunny.
So I need a minute to process that. The thing that made me laugh the most was, and I don't know if you probably heard about this, and I don't want to get too much into politics on this show, but Pepe Le Pew got canceled, right?
Oh yeah, that's right. He got canceled too.
Right. So for those of you who don't know, there was apparently a scene in this movie, supposedly, rumor, speculation, innuendo, where he was doing his thing. He was hitting on somebody, and LeBron's like, "Dude, you can't do that. It's 2020. Like, you can't. You're ixnay on the E2 May movement." I suck at pig Latin, but you get the idea. So they removed him from the movie. He is not in this movie. But someone on TikTok, and I wish I had the thing saved that I can credit them. I could not stop laughing because if you watch the trailer, the one thing I will say that was really cool about it is that it looks like they're going to at least showcase every freaking WB property they have under the sun. So
Yes.
there's a scene where, by the way, Don Cheadle is the villain. Yes, please.
Yes. Absolutely.
I am.
100%.
I was like, I'm very confused about this, but you know what? Screw it, I'm in. So they show the scene where like they're all, and you can see out in the crowd the vast sea of like, and I'm talking like every property they have. You're talking like all the Hanna-Barbera cartoons. I think there was an Easter egg trailer breakdown. I'm sure you could see it where you see like Scooby-Doo, Captain Caveman, the Flintstones, the Jetsons, a lot of Batman characters, the Pennywise from the It movies. Like you could really go through it. So someone said, and the last clip in the trailer is Granny shooting a basketball by like doing like a hip swivel on her like walker, and then she kicks the basketball in the basket. So just bear with me. So the guy says, so they canceled friggin' Pepe Le Pew, but they had the characters from A Clockwork Freaking Orange in the front crowd, and he shows a still shot of the characters from the crowd. He goes, so we can't have a French cartoon skunk hitting on people, but we have a gang of rapists and murderers in the front row. And like, no, but here comes Granny kicking a basketball into a basket. Get fucked, everyone.
Dude, I don't even see why they canceled Pepe Le Pew. Like, in no part
bored?
of my child, yeah, but in no part of my childhood was I watching the Looney Tunes that I saw Pepe Le Pew on and be like, well, I guess I got to be an asshole to women now. I mean, this skunk's got it
He never
down.
succeeded.
Like, no, he didn't. Like, he was clearly an antagonistic asshole skunk. That was a charm of
French.
him. Oh, yes, but, listen, at the end of the day, I think it was stupid to cancel him, but at the same time, Pepe Le Pew's not the most important character in Looney Tunes. Like, it's not like it's Daffy or Bugs, it's Pepe. Like, no one gives a fuck.
Yeah.
But I still think it's stupid. Not as stupid as Lola Bunny losing her midriff. Hashtag bring the midriff back. That's what I want. Bring the midriff back.
I'm when I say I'm excited for it, it's not like I'm jumping for joy. Some of the other things, like we were talking about, like the Deathstroke HBO show, which would be amazing, or the Snyderverse stuff. I mean, I'll go watch it. I still want to see it because there's enough calamity in it. I guess that's the best way I could describe it. There's enough calamity from the trailer that it makes me intrigued to be like, okay, let's see where they can go with this. We all know how it's gonna go, but I'm still curious.
I also think it's kind of cool that they're 3Ding, CGIing the Looney Tunes.
I'm on the fence about that, actually.
Really? Why is that?
I don't know. Like, that was kind of the charm of the first movie, was like seeing them as cartoon. I mean, I guess they have the technology now where it looks 20 times better than it could be. And like, can you imagine they try to do that with fucking Bill Murray in the first one?
Well, yeah, it would be terrible.
Right. So I mean,
terrible.
Yeah, I mean, at least it's accurate. Like I'd be afraid we get one of those like weird like Chinese block ones where it's like it looks nothing remotely close to the cut. Like, I don't know. I guess I'm not against it. It's weird. I'm like, why don't you just keep them as cartoons, and why did you have to make them 3D? I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
Yeah, it would have been nice if they had Michael Jordan make a cameo. Not to say he can't.
I mean, he could.
He could, but I don't know. I'm looking forward to it, but again, like you said, I'm not terribly excited. I also think it's coming a little bit too late for me. Like, I was more excited about this a couple years ago.
There was a lot of buzz online. Yeah.
But now it's just like, oh, okay, cool, that's fine.
But
whatever.
We did talk a little bit about this ad nauseum, so this one I won't spend too much time on. We did get a second Suicide Squad trailer, which is kind of weird. So we talked about the first one, which is on the last week's episode. Go check it out. But then they released another one like 3 days later. That was kind of head scratching. I mean, it was kind of cool. They added a couple more things. It wasn't a whole lot, but any takeaways on that new trailer?
Nothing that stands out to me, to my recollection. Now, granted, I watched it like 2 days ago, but I don't think anything new was really added. It's just still more of the same, but the same is good, so I'm fine with it. When is this movie supposed to come out again?
I think Suicide Squad. Let me look it up real quick on my back computer, aka Google. Let's see here. It looks like it's coming out August 6th, 2021.
August 6th. Okay. I was going to say, if it was coming out sooner, they probably would want to ride the momentum of the Snyder Cut and get as much exposure as they can. But yeah, it's kind of odd that they're releasing another trailer so soon. But, also, if you think about it, the trailer's not that much different from the original trailer, so it's not like they're really revealing too much.
I think it was more Peacemaker stuff was the only... That was, I think, the biggest takeaway I got from it was they focused more on Peacemaker because, like you said, they're making it his own show. So,
My favorite line still so far, my favorite non-King Shark line, let me preface that,
Uh-huh.
is when they're all sitting down and Bloodshot goes, "We're all gonna die," and then Polka Dot Man just looks at him and goes, "God, I hope what we do. God, I hope so."
Yeah. I thought you were talking about the beach full of dicks scene.
Well, of course, that's a fantastic line
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
Of course.
yeah.
Why would anyone put a bunch of dicks on the ground? I don't know why madmen do what they do. Like, all around, it was a good line.
I feel like it was
love the
John Cena
Pokemon.
like ribbing his own character from wrestling all those years. But in any case, the last one, this one's a big one, was we got a new Loki trailer.
Yes.
And this one, there has been a teaser for Loki when they did it the beginning of the year, where they showed like WandaVision and all that stuff from the latest D23 Expo, which is like basically Disney's version of Comic-Con, where they release everything. But this one went in a lot more depth and gave us the overall plot of the series, which basically is Loki's been captured because of the events of Avengers Endgame, him taking the Tesseract, branched off a boatload of timelines, and basically he's there as a prisoner/agent of the TVA, the Time Variance Authority, to fix all the broken realities.
Now,
Sign me up.
just remind me,
Yeah.
because again, my recollection of Endgame is a little shaky.
I block
He
out everything
died.
Marvel.
No,
I'm just
no.
joking. I'm just joking.
I just don't watch it as nauseum as I do other stuff.
Yeah.
Didn't Thanos snap his neck?
So for those of you who are unaware in terms of the canonicity of everything, in Infinity War, so there was the main MCU timeline. Loki is dead. Thanos killed him at Infinity War on the ship with the Asgardians at the very beginning of the movie, because we need that to start things off on the biggest epic Marvel movie. That's a good sign. So what happens is in Endgame, they go back to different time periods, or in this case, alternate realities, and steal the different Infinity Stones from those areas, bring them to theirs, undo everything, and then Captain America puts them back. The problem, though, is that in one of them, Loki, in the essence of, when he's captured in the first, the Battle of New York from the first Avengers movie, he grabs the Tesseract and transports himself away. So by doing that, he branches off into a different timeline. That's where this story takes place, in that branched off timeline.
So this Loki is not the Loki that's had character development and kind of made amends with Thor.
Correct. This is basically, if you're thinking of like what version of Loki this is, it's Avengers 2012, the first Avengers movie Loki.
I don't know if I like that. I kind of like the character development of Loki, but
you have a clean slate in a way, so you could there's a lot you could do with that. And this, I don't know if I mentioned this on the show before. The thing for me about this means that, okay, if they're gonna do that, that means that you have to think, well, this whole keeping track of different timelines is gonna be a pain in the ass. So does that mean Loki gets back to the main timeline?
possibly. I mean, it's a way to keep his character relevant and to keep his character, the possibilities open. Definitely. When it comes down to my overall thoughts of this trailer, I loved it. I think Tom Hiddleston as Loki is amazing. I only had one complaint about it, and it's kind of an unfair complaint.
Please don't say
But I
Owen
do
Wilson.
have one complaint. No, not at all. My one complaint is that it feels a lot like DC Legends of Tomorrow. Now, if you don't watch the show, I guess it
No,
doesn't
I
matter.
have.
And
But I get where you're
have-
coming from. Yeah, I
Yeah,
have to see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, it would be unfair to judge a show based off just a similarly matching premise, especially seeing that like everything has been done under the sun. But that would be my only complaint. And I don't like time travel stories too much, but for Loki, I'd be okay with it.
Well, time travel can get really. We talked about this before. Time travel can get really messy, and unless it's the central focal point. But I think that like for a show, it's a great concept. Because I mean, obviously Loki is, I think he's probably up there in terms of like the top 10 most popular like Marvel Avenger characters, if that makes, or MCU characters, I should say. So they're taking advantage of that, which I think is which is smart. It's just a matter of how Feige is going to do all this. I think this will just open up the doors for other things to happen. But I love the plot. I love Tom Hiddleston, like regardless of what he's in. I think he's a great actor. It looks like it's going to be a lot of.
Good guy.
I've heard he's a good guy. There's a lot of possibilities I see with this, and it can go either way. In fact, if you watch the trailer, which I did like a couple of times, because there were a couple of scenes where I'm like, whoa, wait, what? Well, no, there's a couple. I know there's a couple of scenes that I was like, whoa, wait, go back. That looked kind of interesting. You know the one where it's like all purple and looks like a desolate wasteland?
Yes.
It's very brief, but if you look at it, there's a wide shot of him like standing up, and you like oversee like this like sea of rubble. One of those is the Avengers Tower. If you watch it, so it makes me think he goes to an alternate timeline where Thanos won. So food for thought. Just throwing it out there. But no, Loki looks awesome. Did you catch Falcon and Winter Soldier this past Friday?
I didn't, and I know something big happened, but I just with the
sort of
holidays going on, I just didn't have a chance to. I actually will either watch it tonight or tomorrow night.
No worries. We can always put a pin in it, and we'll do like a double whammy next week. I'd rather talk about it when you see it because I'm very curious. It was another, without going to spoilers for Andrew's sake, I enjoyed it. It was definitely another slower paced episode. A lot of exposition on certain things, some pieces kind of coming together. My theory, I think, still holds up, is what I'll say, from last week. But good stuff. And if
Did you hear about the fucking tragic thing about the actor who's playing the new Captain America? What's his name?
John Walker.
Yeah, the actor that's playing him is getting bullied online a lot by people.
Yeah.
So he's looking to leave the show permanently.
No, not cool. No. I think because he, damn it, because there's something that happens episode 3 that makes me like want to see the character play out more, and I don't want to fudge. Damn it!
But don't tell me.
Yeah, I won't.
Don't tell me.
It's not, but it's not even anything. I'll leave it at that.
Does it have to do with the broker?
No, it happens.
Okay.
John Walker. The only thing I'll say about episode 3 is there's very, very, very little John Walker in episode 3. Very little. But what happens in there make me go, huh? That's all I'll say. Damn it, I'm starting to like John Walker as a bad guy. Like, I love to hate him kind of deal. Like, guys, don't bully celebrities online. That's not cool. Plus, his father's ego, the living human planet, so he'll fucking crush you. All right, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this thing in the last like couple of minutes here, because we talked a lot about it. Godzilla versus Kong.
Mm-hmm.
It was a movie. No, I'm kidding. I actually really like this. Spoilers. Obviously, heads up, because we have to label this. Fuck the humans. That's all I'm gonna say in this is fuck the humans. We kind of talked about this before, and we actually talked about this with like the Space Jam movie trailer just now. You know what you're walking into. If you've seen anything like this or any of these like big monster movies where they have humans like trying to flush out exposition and do this and that and blah blah blah, like you know where this is going.
Yeah,
I think I still enjoyed it though for the most part.
Yeah, I've been enjoying this new kaiju universe. I think I'm a fan of the old ones. After my wife and I got married, I actually went on a binge and watched a lot of the old Japanese ones. So I have a great appreciation, but I think it was definitely a universe that needed to be rebooted and updated. So I've enjoyed every movie that has come out from it. And this movie has done so many things right and a couple things I didn't care about. So now I'm just going to tell you all the things that did right and all the things that did wrong.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
Okay. First and foremost, I think making Kong the protagonist in this and Godzilla the pseudo-antagonist. Like, Godzilla has a reason for doing what he's doing, but, like, I think it was smart to do the focus on Kong.
Real quick.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, you go.
I was just say real fast before you get too deep into the tangent. I felt like this was a Godzilla movie, not a Kong movie.
Really? I felt like it was a Kong movie, not a Godzilla movie.
I don't disagree with why I think you're saying that, and that's why I chimed in. Like, I feel like it's more of a Godzilla movie, and the Kong is the supporting player. But, like, Freddy versus Jason was, to me, clearly a Jason movie.
Yeah, that's true.
But this one's a little bit. I could. The argument could maybe for either or, but I see it as a Godzilla movie. But go ahead.
So, anyways, I enjoyed the development they did with Kong, and I'm more of a Godzilla man myself, right? I'll always support Gojira before anyone else. but I was rooting for Kong at some points in this. So I thought they did a good job at developing it. I also liked the development of the center of the Earth thing, although I thought it was a little taboo on how they got there. I like the idea that the Titans kind of came from there, and there's a
Yeah.
whole nother world underneath our world. Great lore myth building.
I will say,
So I enjoyed that.
for razor thin plot devices to get them to fight,
Yeah.
this was actually pretty decent. Like you know, like I just mentioned with like Freddy versus Jason, you see a lot of these like versus movies where like, or these movies that are just there. It's like, oh man, we need to do this for this and blah blah blah, and you have to like think of like some sort of contrived like crazy thing that just gets thrown out the window anyway. This actually kind of made sense. They don't want them to fight because they can't contain the two of them. They can barely contain Kong, as we saw at the beginning, and like they're trying to avoid them fighting. So they're trying to get the like go away. So I'm like, okay, so at least it's not like they're trying to like we're gonna trick out Kong in some Iron Man armor and we're gonna let you go get him, Tiger. like you know.
No, but you know what? The reason for them fighting was good, but I don't think it was the best reason. Because it was okay. I'll get back on the goods in a second. Let's diverge to something I would change.
Okay.
The general reason why they are doing it is because if you notice in the beginning of the credits, all the other kaiju got killed off screen. Like Rogan is gone, like all of them are gone. Technically, Godzilla killed them all.
Right.
Because the general concept is there can only be one apex. The only one that's left is Kong, and that's because Kong was on Skull Island, but now he's no longer on Skull Island. And they want to keep Kong safe because one, they generally like Kong, and two, Kong's kind of a contingency. So the whole purpose of Kong is to get him safe and get him out of here. Put him in the fucking center of the earth so Godzilla can't get him, and then steal the energy by Texas, the rich oil bad guy, right? The Maxwell Lord of this movie.
Yep.
But what I think would have been a better reason for them to fight, which I thought they were leaning into, they kind of were, is the fact that Godzilla in the movie is ravaging all these places because Mechagodzilla is turning online and basically sending out that signal for Godzilla. It would have been cooler if the reason why Kong and Godzilla are fighting is not because Godzilla wants to fuck them up, it's because they don't know why Godzilla is attacking all this shit. And Mechagodzilla is not ready yet, so they're using Kong to stop Godzilla. Like Kong is their failsafe.
Right.
I think that would have been cooler, and then the two kind of just fight at the end, which is what they did. But the reason that they did was an okay. Look at it this way, right? Here's one of the great things about this movie: is literally a kid taking two action figures and smashing them together. I don't need to know why a fucking giant lizard is fighting a giant monkey. I don't need. I just need them to fight. And let me tell you something. The fighting in this is fantastic. One, no shaky cam. Number two, I'm not getting a perspective from the ground. Number three, everything's clear at day, and when it's at night in Japan, it has this beautiful neon light that's making it look good. Like just on a whole, it is the fighting is fantastic. So I really enjoyed that.
No, I mean, like you know, like I keep saying over and over, you know what you're getting into when you see this kind of movie. So it's not like we were expecting anything too crazy in terms of like, oh man, Godzilla and Kong really showed me how to love my father. Like, what the no? Like, that's not what we're gonna get out of two giant. Man, I learned the best way to bond with my father was watching a giant the radioactive lizard and a monkey fight off in Japan. Sure. By the way, I did kind of like the we're gonna fight in Japan, like a nod to obviously how all this craziness started.
Yeah, Japan got fucked up. But to be fair, Boston, our hometown, got fucked up in the last movie. So, like, Japan can take it, but like, yo, got fucked up. Like, dude, Kong tried to climb the tower and it clearly didn't work. It just shit got real.
Dude, I died laughing at that. I'm sorry.
It makes you wonder how Angel Grove was still around after every Power Ranger fight. Like,
listen, it's the real estate economy in the abandoned warehouse district. Between all their charity events, their world martial arts tournaments, I mean, they clearly were a booming, thriving economy where also kids get detention for failing a test.
Yes. Um, uh, I had two bads about this,
Okay.
right? First bad. Well, okay, one more good. Another good. Ready?
Yeah.
I didn't give a fuck about the humans, and we had very little time with them. We had very little
Yeah,
time, and thank God.
that's true. Like I say this about every movie that has it. I mean, you obviously need humans in order to move some exposition and get things through, but I mean, listen, if one of them's a deaf kid, fine.
I'm just glad they didn't focus on them too much, and I don't think I know why they put Millie Brown in there, Millie Bobby Brown or Billy Brown. I'm sorry, I screw up her name every
Billy
time.
Bob
I know
Thornton.
why. Yeah, I know why they put Eleven from Stranger Things in there
Yeah.
because of star power and how
Right.
recognizable hers. But her story was so contrived and silly. Like she got from like
Yeah.
California to Japan through like a rail gun shot.
Right.
Whatever.
Because science.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's my first complaint, right? I'm perfectly fine in this kaiju universe that man has stepped up its technology, right?
Right.
It makes sense, especially if they're gonna have fucking Mecha Godzilla. My problem is some of the technology was a little too sci-fi. Like those little shuttlecrafts that they were in that went to the center of the Earth that like had anti-gravity that put like starcrafts from Star Trek to shame. Like I'm pretty sure those motherfuckers are better than X-wings from Star Wars. Like the technology and like the transportation to Japan, like when they were on the rail gun kind of fucking train system with the skull crusher eggs. Like a lot of that technology just seemed a little too far fetched for what it was in the time because I think they say in the film that Godzilla has been around publicly, right? I'm making it sound like he's a fucking superhero, right? He made his first public appearance, but Godzilla, Shin Godzilla, the first film, took place 7 years ago.
Yep.
So in 7 years, you're telling me we dug a hole to the center of the earth, and we also have a rail gun, like train system, all the way from wherever Millie Bobby Brown was to Japan.
Yeah. The other thing that kind of made me scratch my head was like, and I know Godzilla was like the hero in the first one,
Mm-hmm.
just from just general research, but like the very beginning, it's like, listen, you mean to tell me that none of you fuckers prepared for a possibility that Godzilla would just randomly attack you? You didn't even like
Exactly.
consider. Listen, it's a classic kids movie where all the adults are stupid.
Mm, it
And,
is.
and like,
And
why?
let me add an asterisk to what you just said,
Yeah.
right? I am fully supportive of a concept like Mechagodzilla. Everyone's like, "Oh, you're being super evil making Mechagodzilla." Fuck no, bitch! There's a giant dinosaur blowing things up left and right. Why wouldn't I want to have another giant dinosaur? Like, I think in Mechagodzilla's had a bunch of iterations, but one of them is he is a defender for the humans. So it's just fucking stupid. Like the concept that people get pissed at this guy made a Mechagodzilla.
I don't like
How,
that. It bugs me the hell out of me. I'm like, oh, he just randomly attacked us. Like, why did you like? You had no contingency plans, no fail
yeah.
safes. I mean, we're talking a radioactive fucking lizard, and you're just not okay. Cool, fine. That's no, we're just gonna let him chill in the ocean. He's gonna do his thing.
Yeah.
Cool. No, I mean, other than that though, it was what it was. I think that it was. I'll be honest, it was better than I thought.
Yeah. I would have liked them to know how they had the skull of King Ghidorah kind of have a telepathic connection to Mechagodzilla. I would have liked the skull to actually be inside Mechagodzilla. I don't know if you know this, right? In the original kaiju movies, there were actually two Godzillas. There was the first one, which was a female in the first movie, and she dies, and then her offspring, which was Godzilla going forward, right, for every other movie. But Mechagodzilla's skeleton is actually the skeleton of the first Godzilla, so it would have been a nice homage. I just wanted to throw that in there. I just think it's stupid that they didn't have the skull actually inside Mechagodzilla.
Yeah, well, little continuity nods
Yeah.
or lack thereof, unfortunately. But no, I mean overall, as much as we're kind of like making fun of and picking at this, I still enjoyed it. Now, of course, with everything having a fucking connected universe as it does now, there is no end credit scene, so there is no like they did with the previous Godzilla or the previous Kong movie. There is rumblings that people want to see a monster movie monster universe in some way, shape, or form. I'm down for a battle royal. It just depends on. Well, you said most of them were killed off at this point, right?
Yeah, but I mean, you can always fudge that. I mean, in the original films, Godzilla's died like 20. Yeah, science, magic, a wizard did it. I don't know.
Right.
It's easy to pull. It's easy to shit out these movies because the main characters are CGI monsters, and you can rotate the human cast anytime you want. Like the next movie can have fucking, I don't know, The Rock in it, and then after that you can have Patrick Stewart. Like you can have whomever you want in the films. And there's a lot to still to do. Like Destroyer hasn't been brought in yet, so you can still do him, right? You can do Mecha Ghidorah, who is another one. Like they did Mecha Ghidorah at one point. So there's a bunch of different things that they could do. I think this is a very viable universe, and I don't know if you've been following this, but Godzilla has been doing really well for COVID numbers. I think it's done 10 million domestically, which for all the movies that have come out in COVID for the movie theater is the best one so far. This is not counting HBO Max and everything. And then overseas, I think it's done like 100 million or something like that. It's done some redonkulous numbers overseas, again, for COVID numbers. So it's definitely been a success for
Still,
WB. And yeah.
That's a pretty good deal then. I'd be up for a continued like monster universe, but yeah, I think that's pretty much everything we had to say so far about Godzilla vs. Kong, to be continued, if it does. Yeah. But yeah, I think that wraps up a pretty well rounded out episode of the World of Fandom podcast. Unless there's anything else you wanted to add last minute, Andrew.
No, I got everything out that I wanted to get out.
You had like a. No, I'm like, oh, it's either like it's either nothing or a whole lot.
You know, throughout the week, I think about things to talk about, and like I sit there and I kick myself in the ass because I should make a list, but I just don't because I'm a lazy fucker. I mean, like, I'm sure there's like 6 other topics that I had planned.
I literally did it via text message to you, and that's how I remembered half this crap. So there's that. But no, thank you all for tuning in for another episode of the World of Fandom podcast. Again, if you guys want to interact with us, a great way to do so, please help us out over on Twitter at PodFandom. It is a great way to interact with us and help build us up. Make sure you check us out on all your favorite podcasting platforms. We are on Anchor, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google, iTunes, so many other. Just type in World of Fandom podcast. By the way, I forgot to mention, Andrew, we got a bit of a facelift with our new logo. What do you think of it?
I think it's sexy.
Yeah, the red globe and everything.
Oh my God, yes. I feel like a real housewife of like New Jersey or something like that. Like I just feel as though Botox and facelift and everything, it looks good.
Yeah, I do like the new looks we got going on here. So hopefully we're looking to up our game. And if you guys want a YouTube version of this, we are also posting this as a video, just video with moving images in the background, over on Andrew's YouTube. So that's youtube.com/AndrewCutter. Is that right?
Yes, AndrewCutter Inc.
AndrewCutter Inc. We'll find a link. We'll make sure to put that link there. You can follow me on Twitter at OKFabe. You can follow Andrew at AndrewCutter Inc. on Twitter as well. And make sure you guys give us those awesome ratings on Spotify, iTunes, or wherever, iTunes, Apple, whatever the hell they're calling themselves nowadays. I'm an old man. I'm an old fart. Anyway, thank you all for tuning in. Appreciate the continued love and support. We will see you guys next week for some more awesomeness right here on the World of Fandom podcast. Take care, and as always, take it easy.
Peace out.